Hey everyone, Erin Bassett here. This is an exciting day because my ScanNCut DX just arrived, so I'm going to open it up and show you what's inside. Okay, so right on the top is this whole getting started guide is in here. It says let's get started in multiple languages. Okay, so in here is all those manuals, instructions, all that good stuff. So I'll go through that in a minute. And this is just recyclable. And then I'm going to put this box down lower. Okay, so next is all your cords and stuff are in here. We'll need that in a minute. Okay, and then I'm just going to take these pieces out. Smells new. Okay, then also inside is a standard mat and some paper, probably to get started so you can play right away. And then there's also instructions for the mat, like the do's and don'ts. Okay, so I'll put all those things together. Take this bag off of here so it can breathe. Okay, so let's pop this up. And again, it has those little levels in it so you can have it at whatever angle that you need it to be. And of course, the first thing I noticed right off the bat with this ScanNCut DX, and this is model SDX85M. So I noticed the pink right off the bat, right? There's also other colors that it comes in. So that's really fun to add some personality to your space. And then when we open this up, again, instructions right off the bat. So anybody can follow this and understand what to do. This one tells us how to load the mat. So we'll need that when we get to that step. And then like any other electronic, you want to remove any of those, blue tape. It's nice that they made it blue, right? You can see exactly what you need to do. And then pull this out. And that keeps it safe when it's being transported. Okay, also, just like the other ScanNCut DXs, is it has these handy little storage places built in. So that's really nice. And then we can open up our little pack right here. So you have that little bag, and inside it is your stylus and your spatula, and then your auto blade. Okay, so I'm going to keep all of these out. Okay, so I'm going to install my auto blade, and it has this lid that you need to take off first. I'm just going to stick it in there. And of course that's needed when you transport it. So I'm going to stick it in here. It comes with this little lever up because it needs the holder to be able to click it in place. So it will be up on yours too. And then you just want to set your blade in there and then push that little lever down. So we are ready to go. I just need to plug it in. So let's get the cords. And I love that it has this little plastic piece on it to keep your cords all bundled up. That way, when you do need to unplug it for whatever reason, maybe take it with you to a making event, then your cord's not all wonky. Okay, so we have that. I'm just going to close this while I plug it in so you can see where to do that. Oh, good thing I turned it around because we got some more blue tape happening on the back. Okay, so let's just remove that. You may be even wondering why there is blue tape back here, but there is this little shelf so that when your mat comes in, it's not falling down. Keeps it nice and flat so it can be fed back and forth when needed. Okay, so let's plug it in. As you can tell, it goes right in there. I just like to wiggle it, make sure it gets in there well. And now I can flip it back around. While I'm doing that, let me show you some other features of what's on the sides. So right here is your little lever. This raises and lowers the scanner inside. There's times when you are feeding something in and it needs to have the scanner raised up a little bit so that whatever you're scanning can fit through. So your machine will tell you when you need to change this. It's even marked 1 and 2. So your machine will tell you if you ever need to change that or change it back if you forget, it will tell you. And then on the other side is the typical connections that you would need. It has the USB-A connector and the USB-B connector. So you'll have both of those, and then we can continue to rotate it and go ahead and plug it in. Okay, so we're all ready. We can hit that on button and it will turn on. Okay, so you have this little screen that shows you some project ideas on it. You can just tap it, and then it says the carriage will move into the initial position. Keep your hands away from the carriage. So this is the carriage, so that's what moves back and forth, moves the blade or the pen or whatever you're using back and forth to be able to operate. So just keep your hands out of there, keep everything out of there, and click OK. And now we are ready to play. Okay, like other ScanNCut models, the first thing that you see is pattern or scan. So that's your choice. What do you want to do? So let's take a look at the patterns, and it gives us different categories. Here's basic shapes, looks like nature and other die cut type things. Words that we want to use, titles, borders, and then there's some fonts in there. So just to take a peek in there, you can see you just use the arrow to scroll through, and then hit the back button when you want to come back to the screen. So different clip art categories, like nature or food. Okay, so you have those already built in there. Ooh, I just saw a fun one. Here is like a little box to be able to put some goodies in. So we'll just back it up and back it up. And then some titles. Same thing, you can scroll through there. Some borders, and then fonts. So you only have a few fonts because you have the entire internet full of fonts, right? So you don't really need the built-in ones, but these are handy, and especially this first one, I use that all the time when I just need to cut something out quickly, or maybe it's lettering for something that I want to do on vinyl. It's just really easy to punch in the letters that you need and have it cut it out. Okay, so we will go back, and also we have that scan option. You have that same choices that you have on other ScanCuts, the direct cut, scan to cut data, scan to USB, and then also transfer to Canvas workspace. Okay, so we'll explore those in future videos of what each of those mean. But let's continue to scooch over. So the roll feeder is also an option that you can use. The roll feeder attaches to your machine. It's of course sold separately, and it's really great for doing really big vinyl signs and that sort of thing, because you can use your whole roll and cut that way. So check out the video resources on that. And there's also embossing. So there's region embossing, and it walks you through how to do that if you want it embossed. And then my collection is on there too, which of course I haven't hooked myself up to my computer or my Wi-Fi yet, so there's nothing in here. Okay, so that is everything in a nutshell. Also, if you click that wrench, it does give us some fine-tuning options. And some things that I always like to do first is turn off that beeping sound. Now that is just a personal preference. You may love the beeping sound, but I often work at night, and so I don't want all that beeping going on while people are trying to sleep. Okay, so let's find that and anything else. So you can change your language, what measurements you use, if you use millimeters or inch, your cut area. So this, if you wanted to shrink it down to be a different size, you could do that. You could grab these little arrows and pull it in, or you can just click on what mat you're using. They gave us a 12 by 12 mat, so that's what I'm using, but there's also a 12 by 24 inch mat that can be used. Okay, so let's X out of that one because I want to keep it that way. So there's pattern interval. We don't quite need to change that yet. Background, that's for if you're scanning and you're scanning something that's a dark color. And you're having a hard time seeing it on the screen because it's so dark, you can't really see where your pattern shapes are. You can change this to be lighter or darker so that you're able to see it well and be able to place your patterns exactly where you want them. So you can adjust the cut speed, the pressure, all that sort of thing right there. I'm keeping mine factory settings, the default. Your half cut, which I explain in the videos about cutting vinyl, you want to do it on a half cut, and changing again the pressure for that. There's also some blade adjustments that you can do, and then drawing. You know, what speed do you want to draw? What pressure do you want to use on those pens that you're using? So also right here is the seam allowance, and of course you sewers know what that means, but you paper crafters will be interested in it as well. It creates those borders outlining it, so it's perfect for if you're stamping and then scanning and cutting, you want to put the seam allowance around it so it has a nice border around it some of the time. Other times you want it to cut really close, right? So you have all those options on this machine. Okay, so you have that seam allowance, fill, additional lines, all this stuff. Auto shutdown, right now it's set at an hour. So if I am working and I totally forget to turn this off, in an hour it will turn itself off. And then my favorite buzzer sound, obviously right now it's on. I'm going to turn it off. And then opening screen. That was that fun little project screen that comes on when we first turned on our machine today. So if you don't want to see that every time, you can just go ahead and turn that off. And then scanning, cutting, position adjustment, you can do all those if needed. So then it shows you your machine number. So that's the number that you're going to use in a lot of places to be able to link this machine with things. And also what version of update is on there. So you can always go on the Brother ScanNCut website and be able to check and see what's the newest update. Did I happen to miss one? Does it need to be updated? And when I first get a machine, even though it's brand new, I'd like to check and make sure that I have the newest version. That way it's all up to speed and it's ready to go. So I'll do that. And then machine information is on there as well. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. So then also the network and Canvas workspace connecting to that, and then premium functions. So first I'm going to go into network and I'm going to set that up. So I am going to use the setup wizard. So it asks me if I want to enable it. I'm going to click yes. And right now it's searching for the SSID is what it says. And there it turned it up. So I'm going to scroll down to my network that we use at my home. And I'm going to put in the password. And then I'll click OK and apply. And so it's connecting to our wireless network. Okay, so that says connected. Specify the Canvas workspace settings in order to send cutting data between Canvas workspace and the machine. So that's obviously what we want to do anyways, right? So it walks us right through that. So we just click next. It says register the connection between Canvas workspace account and the machine in order to send cutting data with the Canvas workspace. For more details, refer to the wireless network setup guide. So we're just going to click next. Okay, so I've clicked on Canvas workspace. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to click on that little icon that looks like a person, which will take me to the account settings, and then click machine registration, register a new machine, and that number that's on my machine I'm going to type into here and click OK. And it gives me a pin to put in here. So I'm going to click OK and then type in that code. And click OK. And it says that it's been set up. So I'm going to click OK. It shows me even my user ID that I use on Canvas Workspace. Okay, so we have it all set up. It's ready to go. And now I just need to think of my next project.
For more ideas and inspiration, visit erinbassett.com. And for all things ScanNCut, visit ScanNCut.com.